Recording in progress. So what am I doing? Okay, it's recording. Hello, everyone. Today, I have a very handsome guest. His name is Andrew C. Stier. I'm mad that you put your middle initial.
Okay, here's the thing. So, hey everyone, I'm Andrew. I'm excited. The reason I have to put my middle initial sometimes is there's
Yeah.
another Andrew Stier who is out there who has a PhD who is publishing, and
Oh,
he's like, I've never
really?
met him. I don't know who he is, but he's like my rival because he has so many more publications than, or so many more citations than me, and more publications.
Hey, sometimes you got to use that to your own advantage and like just take just be like, yeah, I did all those things and then put on your own resume.
Oh my God.
There's another Darian Wynn in California who studied computer science. And so we're both science people. And I think he published. He's active on Reddit. I think he made like a post complaining about his lab and his old lab. And like, oh my gosh, like his experiences in his old lab is kind of similar to mine. But I really hope that people know that Darian Wynn isn't me.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So that, especially if
Okay.
he's like bad about this stuff.
Wait, let me fucking introduce you. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Today's today's guest is Andrew C. See these nuts. C.
Oh my God.
Stier.
My mom's gonna listen to this.
Andrew C. Stier received his PhD in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Texas at Austin. Slay them horns.
Okay.
He specializes in supervised machine learning and deep learning, and his graduate research applied these techniques to subdiffuse spatial frequency domain imaging. Holy, that's a handful.
Yeah.
Subdiffuse spatial frequency domain imaging. Like, I understand each word separately, but not together. It just means gibberish to me.
It's a whole thing.
And in his free time, he enjoys creating comedy and film, and he co-hosts a podcast about queer representation in media called Rainbow Room. Wait, is it called The Rainbow Room or Rainbow Room?
So it's called Rainbow Room, but whenever we like introduce it, we're like, "Welcome to the Rainbow Room."
Interesting. Wait, when did you start Rainbow Room?
I started it on my 30th birthday. Like, or I guess we started recording before that, but I like wanted to release by my 30th birthday. Basically, I'd already thought of like, hey, this would be a good podcast to do. So I'm gay. I'm so excited to be on this podcast with another queer person in STEM. Like,
Who?
there's not that many of us, so it's like
Who? It's
I
not
always geek
me.
out.
It's not me.
Oh my God, this is like in Luca where he's like, "You're a sea monster." Sorry, that's a deep cut. I just watched Luca for the podcast, so
Is Luca a gay film? Because I don't think it is. I think it's like just really close friends, just roommates. They're
no,
just roommates.
no, it's not, and it like wasn't even written as a film, but also everyone thinks it's gay, and like it's a film that a gay person can really, really connect to. I think it's meant to be like anyone who's ever felt like an outsider can connect to this film. But it just
Mm,
really hits home specifically for gay people.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Okay, you just reminded me of something. Do you like Marvel?
I'm not like
That's a
I
no.
can't
That's a
really
no.
claim. No, no, I don't.
Based on the
I
inflection, that was a no.
I, I like them, but I have no cred. I could not like. I haven't read enough to be like, oh, I'm a comic book person.
Okay, I was gonna say you need to watch the whole. Well, you need to learn about the whole X-Men series. Like, it's a lot
Yes,
of.
no, I love X-Men. Oh my
Okay,
God,
okay,
I'm such a
okay,
huge
okay.
X-Men fan.
James Marsden as Cyclops in the 2001 X-Men movie, literally my sexual awakening.
Really?
Yes.
It's so funny because my sister and I bond over how much we both love X-Men, and she hates Scott. She hates Cyclops.
Well, wait. The X-Men First Class or the
No,
old
no,
one? James
the
Marsden?
old one. Well,
Gag.
like we grew up watching X-Men Evolution. Have you seen it? It's so
Girl,
good.
yes. Rogue. Rogue is my homegirl. I love that, I guess, style of Rogue because she looked
Yeah.
really cool, emo, goth. She's
She is so
badass.
cool in that one, and also Kitty Pryde is Shadowcat is so cool in that show. They're also it's like such a good show. I cut you off. What were you saying? Oh, you were just saying that he's your sexual awakening, and yes, also the X-Men series is so good, and I like it's also a really good allegory for like being gay, and I love it so much.
There is one gay X-Men character. Well, I'm sure there's multiple, but there's only one that I'm aware of. Do you know who?
Iceman.
Oh, Slay.
Bobby.
Wow. Yes. Bobby. Bobby. Yes. I'm surprised you know.
Yeah, I know a little bit, but I don't know if that's across all canons, but like, yeah, I read one comic where he was. So I also do a lot of improv, and I directed a like superhero style improv show
Oh, wait. Where? Bitch,
at
where?
Hideout Theater.
Where's Hideout Theater? In Austin?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, you should totally
Hideout
check out their
Theater.
stuff.
Why does it sound so familiar? Is it like solely improv or is it just like all types of theater shows?
It's solely improv.
Okay, never mind. Because I was like, I think I saw Heather's the musical there, but I'm getting confused with another venue.
The only like very occasionally they'll rent out the venue to other people, but it's generally like everything Hideout produces is improv.
Ah, I see. Now, I mentioned this on your podcast on your recent episode. Was it on your recent episode?
By the time this comes out, there will probably be other
Oh yeah,
episodes.
you invited the famous TikToker, what's his name?
Kyle
Kyle?
Prue.
Yes. I'm so proud of you. That's exciting, man. That's very exciting.
Thank you so much. Well, and it was really cool because we had already interviewed someone famous.
So I mentioned this on your podcast. I really looked up to you when I was an undergrad because you were so good at improv, and I always came to y'all's shows, Giggle Pants. For those that are listening and you go to UT, please continue watching Giggle Pants. They are so funny. I grew up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? And just watching Giggle Pants, it was so nostalgic for me, but also it gave me like a new flavor of theater. And you guys are just so freaking creative and funny. And I feel like my acting abilities have definitely obviously changed, but also gotten better because after learning some basic rules of improv and watching you guys and just kind of like, I guess, like vicariously learning through how you guys improvise, that's how I was able to get better. And, the basic improv rule is yes and. Yes and. Oh, also, fun fact, I auditioned for Giggle Pants. I made callbacks, but I did not make the cut. But one of the most important things that I learned during the callbacks was do not try to force the funny. Just let it organically happen. Just try to carry on with the scene and have like real good chemistry with your scene partners. And the funniness, the hilarity will just naturally come.
Well, thank you so much. Your listeners couldn't see this, but I was smiling wide the whole time you said that. That's so extremely nice of you, and it's really cool that you took lessons from the audition process. That like even though you didn't get on the team, that like it was still like taught you stuff that you feel like you've carried into your
Oh yeah.
work, which is awesome. And then the really cool thing is here I am on the flip side. I have such huge respect for you. Like as soon as I saw your videos start blowing up independently, like I did not know from you. I just like was going through my own day and I was like, wait, this guy who's in this viral video, I know him. It was so cool, and I love your work. You have
Thank
this.
you so
It's
much.
funny. You have this one TikTok that, or was like a short video that was like, you coming into lab with like different objects, and it had this like soundtrack to it. I couldn't remember. It's probably you have a million videos like this, but like it was so well done, and I was like bopping to that song. Like,
I'm thinking, is it Pose by Naomi Smalls? You don't watch Drag Race. I forgot you don't watch Drag Race.
bad gay.
I know. Are you even gay? I'm sorry. Your gay card is revoked. Give
Oh,
it back
wait,
to me now.
Yeah, I had a TikTok talking about like predicting which pieces of gay media had enough gay men in the writers' room, and that started doing really well. It was my first TikTok to ever go viral, and I had never gone viral before. I was like, oh my god. And I had already thought about doing a podcast about like reviewing gay movies and talking about representation and like whether it seemed authentic or not, just because I've seen so much media, and maybe you have too, where it's like you watch something and you're like, this isn't getting it right.
Oh yeah.
Like I went in excited to be represented, and I'm sad because this just doesn't feel like anyone who knows anything about the experience was even involved in making it. That's an extreme, but like I've certainly had that feeling before. And so this TikTok started doing well. I was like, oh, other people actually care about this too.
Uh-huh.
And then at the same time, my co-host, who were gracious enough to
Eric
invite to be here, but couldn't be here today.
Yeah, I love Eric. He's so funny.
He's so funny. He also made a TikTok independently about I think Gossip Girl reboot and like the gay representation in that show, and then that TikTok went viral. So both of us independently were like talking about gay representation and like having lots of engagement. And we're like,
Mhm.
I was like, hey, we should team up and do this. And then the rest is history.
Slay. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so neat.
Yeah. And then you came along and graced us with your presence on the pod, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And also, it's like I'm like really excited to geek out with you about what it's like being a gay person in STEM. Like, I totally want to have that conversation.
At UT, even though there's a huge student population, I didn't know a lot of gay people in Austin or at UT. Then again, I feel like I had my close knit of group friends, and I hung out with them a lot, like mostly Camp Kesem and VSA, Vietnamese Student Association. I saw you, or I think I met you through Brant because Brant was the director of Magical. Brent Taylor.
Oh,
Yeah, and no, he wasn't the director. He was the improv director for Magical. And then he encouraged me to audition for Giggle Pants. And I think,
oh, I didn't know that. I didn't
yeah,
know that you
yeah,
met Brant. Okay,
yeah, I
cool. And then
love
he's how
Brant.
you found Good Pants. I love Brant too. Brant was my roommate for several years.
Wait, I think that's how I met you. I think y'all had like a party at your house. Spencer was also your roommate, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is
It's
that
all
how we're finally piecing together how we
yeah.
met?
In the words of Celine Dion, it's all coming back to me.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You want to hear something funny? I think when I first met you, I was like, this guy's kind of cute. And then I was like, let me shoot my shot. And me shooting my shot was never talking to you in person or and going home and adding you on Facebook. That's it. That was me shooting my shot. I was
That's
extremely shy.
that's hilarious. How cool that someone so shy is now like producing this viral content. That's
Oh no,
awesome.
girl, I'm so shy. I think I'm so shy. I have
But
I don't know,
but
I'm working on
notably
it. I'm working on
notably your
it.
romantic life worked out, which is good.
Yeah, hey, you walked so my current boyfriend can run.
Shut up.
You know, we have to go through all these things in life and experiences so that it helps us build muster up courage to meet the right person. And I feel like I don't okay. I feel like we're going off on a tangent about our personal lives, which is nice. But let's go back to
Oh,
we
so
took
I wanted you talked about how like you didn't know many gay people at UT,
yeah,
and I did, but I didn't know a lot of gay people in science. But one thing that like really helps,
true,
and it really
yeah,
helped me, is the having organizations that are centered around meeting other gay people in a really
yes,
healthy way, especially as a freshman. There was this thing called Hangout. That it was an organization called Hangout that hosted this event called Coffee, where every
mm,
Wednesday at the Starbucks on campus, they just invited all the gay people to get together, all the gay students, and it was just truly just to come and hang out. And for me, as a freshman, freshly out of the closet, to
yeah,
have an environment where I could safely meet that many gay people around my age
yeah,
without 40-year-old men trying to hit on me, and like
mm,
also no alcohol, because I was like, I didn't know necessarily know if I wanted to drink. It was
yeah.
simply just a place to hang out, and like it was so wholesome and cute because I could like
Aw,
talk with people, and like some of them were cute, some of them I
mhm.
just wanted friendships with, but it just like it truly just felt like a really nice natural way to meet people. And I feel so bad when people's only avenue to meet other gay men is through dating apps,
Yeah, I
because
was gonna
it's like
say
that's
Grinder, Tinder
truly
Hinge.
though,
What's the other one? Scruff. What's
organizations aren't there. That's truly the like I
yeah,
know a lot of people who've like they use Grinder to make friends because that's the only method they know how. And like
yeah.
Grinder is not a healthy way to make friends.
Maybe it depends on the person. Maybe there's just someone who can like really lay down boundaries and be like, I'm not here to hook up. I am here to make friends and slay.
Also, the app interface is just awful. Like the ads are so intrusive and constant. It's like it makes the app unusable.
Yeah, there are a lot of ads, and it's like that cartoon game. It's
Mm.
like this balding man who's like he's like trapped in a room, and you have to pull the right you have to like open the right doors, and some of the rooms are like filled with lava and water, and you have to like move the right You have to like open the right rooms to make sure that he can get out safely without,
Oh my god.
you know what I mean? You know what game
Yeah,
I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking. I hate that I know what you're talking about, but I saw it instantly in my mind. But yeah, so I'm a big proponent of or like doing it yourself or organizing it, like having these groups.
The only organization I know of is called OSTEM. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Have you heard of
yeah.
it? OSTEM.
I've heard of it, and I regret never getting involved in it. I think I was still pretty worried that when I was in undergrad and even in grad school, that me being gay was something that was only going to work against me and something I had to hide. And so,
Mm,
and this comes from like, it's kind of a mixed bag, like where we are right now, because there are some industries that I still hear horror stories of just like things that like pretty conservative minded things happening.
really?
Yeah, like it's necessarily outright discrimination. It'll be or like based on race or gender or sexism, but it's more
Yeah.
like conservative things like, oh, you shouldn't wear that shirt. And it's like, okay, if we're going down that road, it's like
Mm,
there's going to be other problems, and like so it's just kind of like this. You don't know what subliminal things are at play, right? And
yeah.
so that's very scary. But at the same time, there are other companies, especially. So I'm in tech. My
Yeah.
story basically is that I started in biomedical engineering, so I
Hmm.
was like in that field. And then through those classes, I discovered like, oh, I really love programming. I love this electrical engineering side and the programming
Yeah.
side. And so then I switched to that for grad school. And now
Wow.
I'm full on working at Microsoft. So I am full on in tech. So
Dude,
I want to give all the
congrats.
tea to you on like my advice for all that. Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Wait, where are you
but
based?
I am coming at you from rainy Seattle right now. It's a nice rainy morning.
Uh, for some
I have
reason, I
my
thought you were in
coffee.
Cali. And I know we talked about this before. I thought you were in Cali. I don't know why. Like San
Well, yeah,
Francisco.
the cool thing about yeah. So I did an internship at Twitter. I did two internships at Twitter in San Francisco, and then
Oh,
when I
I
started
see,
at
I see.
Microsoft, I took some time to be a little bit of a digital nomad.
Yeah.
So I stayed in Mexico City for 3 months, Austin for a month, and then I was in LA for a month. So I was in Cali recently. So I want to get back to talking about OSTEM because I never really got involved with them that much.
Oh
But
wait,
when
wait,
I
we need to tell them the acronym. We can't just say OSEM. It stands for Out in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So I was like,
yeah,
oh, I don't know why OSTEM reminds me of OChem, and I was like, it doesn't stand for Organic Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics. It's Out in Science.
yeah, so there are, I think this is both for people, companies who are looking to increase their diversity and for people who are looking for jobs in in STEM and our game. I think we should really be using more advantage of OSTEM, and it's something I never have. And this is, I should probably take my own advice and start getting more involved now that I'm in the
Yeah,
industry. But it's really great because a lot of us are hesitant to put that we're gay on our resumes because we don't know if it'll hurt us or our parents are telling us not to, and that might even be good advice.
mm,
So if you want to increase your diversity because LGBT people are underrepresented in STEM, then it's really good to leverage these types of networks. They will have career fairs through OSTEM. So you can that's like a really safe way for a company to help increase their pipeline and target LGBT candidates.
mm-hmm.
And because that's my number one preferred way of increasing diversity anywhere. I mean, I think you need a multi-pronged approach, but I think the
Yeah,
first step is always increasing your candidate pool because you cannot hire LGBT people if they're not applying. And so the best way to reach them is through these sort of um, events where obviously there is a chance that people that are going there are not gay, but there's a much more likely to be gay, and so you can help increase your LGBT
right,
representation
right.
by leveraging these communities.
It makes me wonder if is OSTEM like a huge organization at large universities like UT and I don't know U of H and A&M.
We only know of it through UT. I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure it's like a national organization.
Okay, okay.
And I agree with you. They're
Let
the
me
only
search it
ones
up.
I've heard of for STEM. There was a gay business org at UT also that seemed to be doing stuff.
Ooh, because I heard OSTEM through Texas State, Texas State, and I was like, this is a very neat organization, and I wish I had known when I was at UT because I was very out and proud And I didn't know any other gay STEM students.
Biomedical engineering had the most openly gay people. Electrical engineering did not.
Okay, we get it. You have a lot of friends. Wow. This was Andrew's way of humble bragging that he has a lot of friends. Wow. You literally came onto my podcast to shit on me. Wow.
Stop. Well, no, you were in. That's I think part of this is like you're in what might be a little bit more of a conservative. I don't want to say conservative field, but it's like you're probably. I think LGBT people are probably more underrepresented in your field than they are in mine. Possibly, I'm not sure.
I it's hard. It's hard. I feel like what I've seen on Twitter, because I specifically, or I guess a lot of the people that I follow on Twitter are like LGBT plus, also like LGBT plus science organizations. But maybe I'm only looking at this group and not looking at like maybe the sample size. Oh, I'm mad that I'm using sample size. Maybe the sample size that I'm looking at is just focused on this group and not looking at like a randomized group. But I like to say that it's definitely gotten more progressive in the past couple of years, but I wouldn't say that it's completely like, I wouldn't say that it's completely diverse. There's still a lot of problems that we got to tackle. And there are a lot of labs that need to be more inclusive. But I definitely say that it's gotten a lot better. You just reminded me of a story where with my previous lab, my my old PI was kind of like she was very accepting of who I am, very accepting, but it was like too accepting. Where sometimes it
Mm.
was kind of, this was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can wear a skirt in lab if you want, and if you want, you can play any music you want. I don't care.
Oh my god.
But you know what I mean? Like,
And you're like, I never said I wanted to do any of those
yeah.
things.
But I love the gesture. It's very nice of you, and I'm glad to know that you're very accepting. But I mean,
Here, I brought
yes,
some nail polish for you. You're like,
exactly,
what is
yeah.
this?
No, it's funny because she actually did say that one time. Okay, so
Oh
in
my
in
god.
research or in my lab, we have to use like clear nail polish because after we're done mounting mouse brain sections, we put them on slides, add cover slips, and then we let the mounting media cure overnight. And then the very next morning, or the very next day, we get clear nail polish and we put it over the cover slip to let it like seal.
Mm.
And so a lot of labs that do like, I guess, that mount sections will have clear nail polish. And she said that one time too. She's like, if you want to, you can also use it for your own nails. And I was like, at this point, just call me homophobic slur. Oh my God. I think that where I'm at, the labs here are very, very inclusive.
That's good. And tech in as a field is so good right now. I feel like in general about being accepting, inclusive. I'm really enjoying Microsoft. Microsoft has a employee resource group for gay people that I've been trying, and
Oh,
it basically just like a group within the company that you can like meet with other gay people. I've been trying to like leverage that. I want to get more involved in that. And I'm really also I've been trying to be more authentic and like it's so funny because like I realize that I even though I'm like out of the closet, I'm still like wary of it when it comes to my coworkers knowing, which is so stupid. So
mm,
like I just yesterday actually I just told them about my podcast because they're like, "Oh,
really?
how was your day?" And I wanted to tell them about my exciting podcast recording. And like it felt scary to like let them know because it's like
Mhm.
if you listen to the podcast, it's all about me being gay. So
I mean, the question is, have you like accepted yourself? Are you still in the process of trying to accept who you are?
I feel like I have, and I feel like I'm making more progress in that, in like
Yeah.
being transparent about that. And I think especially because I used to have a rule where I would never put anything explicitly gay online, or like I always wanted to keep a layer of plausible deniability.
Hmm.
So I could always be like, oh, like the closest I got was like I would post stuff of me like being on a queer soccer team, but I could
Hmm.
still always say if I needed to, it's like, oh, I'm not gay. I'm just like, playing with them because I'm an ally. I always
I
felt this need
see.
to have this plausible deniability. And kind of slowly but surely, I decided like taking the steps to be like, you know what, I want to be more open. I don't want to have to follow that rule anymore.
Yeah.
And now I've almost overcorrected where all my online content is just about me being gay. But and it's scary sometimes when I like post something on Instagram and I like remember that there are people who will follow me who I maybe haven't like talked about me being gay with yet. It's like, well, now everyone's gonna know. Anyone who looks at, it's all
Yeah.
out there. So
I totally feel you with that. Like, I never came out to my mom. But I'm sure she knows. Like, girl, come on.
you've never come out to your
No. No, because I'm scared. I'm scared. But
yeah.
she watches a lot of my videos, and I think growing up, she just always thought that I was quirky. I've been hanging out obviously with my boyfriend more, and every time I bring him over, or whenever we have like family dinners or family lunches, I bring him along too. My brother will bring his girlfriend, and my mom will bring her boyfriend. And so obviously, like, we're all bringing our significant other. And so my mom at one point even asked me like, "Oh, is he your boyfriend?" And I obviously yes, but I
Oh,
got so nervous. I got so nervous, and I was like, "No, he's just a close friend." She was like,
really?
"Oh, yeah." She's like, "Oh." So I I I don't know. I just feel weird telling her these things, and she's like, "Oh, so where did you meet your friend?" And I was like, I met him in lab research."
Oh my
He was like,
God.
I know, I know. I got so nervous, and so I never brought that conversation up again. But I'm sure she's putting the pieces together because he's been hanging out with my family a lot. And it's come to a point where my mom will ask me, like, "Oh, is so and so coming to the dinner tomorrow?" And, "Oh, I haven't seen so and so for a long time. How's your friend?" So, like, she acknowledges that he's my boyfriend, but I don't think she uses the word boyfriend because I haven't come out to her yet. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to have that conversation because it's so weird and awkward.
Darian, that breaks my heart. I mean, the good news is it sounds like she is respecting what you are telling her,
Oh yeah,
because she
definitely.
asked if he was your boyfriend and you said no, and so I think she's trying to respect the language that you want to use.
I
But
know.
it also sounds like she would be open to it. I really,
I know. I'm a little bitch. I'm a little bitch boy.
it's really scary coming out to your parents or anyone. It's just like a really scary thing. And like even if they basically already know, it's like it, it's hard when I first started coming out of the closet, I like had to practice saying I am gay in the mirror because that language was just so foreign to me. It like wasn't something I was ready to say. Um, and so it's hard, but you should totally
I
come out to
know.
her,
I
record it,
know.
monetize it.
Ah! Oh no. 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 Like, okay.
Darian, I would love to have you and your mom on my podcast and have you come out to her on
Oh
my
my
podcast. That
fucking
would be
God,
such a
no.
tender, beautiful
No.
moment.
No. No.
No, okay, but jokes aside, jokes aside, I I'm a huge proponent of coming out
I
to your parents, and I think it really, even like
yeah.
if you feel like it doesn't matter, I feel like it becomes such a huge step in your relationship to let them know that you've taken down that barrier that between y'all and that like you trust her with
Hmm.
that information. I feel like that will really grow your bond. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry that
definitely,
it's
definitely.
been so
Oh
hard
no.
for you
It's
to have that conversation.
I think it's also like within Asian culture, it's just hard to really open up to your parents to that level. But my family is a bit more Americanized, so it's much easier to bring up topic like mental health. It's like a huge topic that just Asian parents will not acknowledge. Like it's not real. Oh, you're depressed? You're depressed? Go to sleep. You're depressed. It's because you keep hanging out that one friend. You keep hanging out that one friend. You keep going out too much. You keep getting boba. That's why
Wow.
you're depressed.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is
Like I
this is some tea.
you as a white person probably won't understand, but to my Asian listeners, I think y'all will understand where I'm coming from. And I think just like talking about sexuality like that is also it's within that realm where it's hard to fully talk about that. But my mom is Americanized, so I think she's learning, she's understanding. But will I come out to her soon? I don't know, maybe. I always told myself that I would come out to my mom once I have a boyfriend. And now that I have a boyfriend, I keep brushing it off like, maybe once we hit like a 1 year mark, then when things get very, very serious, then I'll tell her. I'll just keep brushing it off until like, yeah, once we get married, then I'll tell her. I'll tell her at the wedding.
You're not the first person to tell me that it's hard in different cultures. I had a Latino friend who was not out to his parents, and he was like, "Andrew, you don't get it. Like you don't get it, and you can't get it." So I understand that it's not the same in different cultures. So I want to respect that struggle. I had a friend who came out to his parents recently, and it was really difficult for him to do, even though he had also been had a boyfriend for a while.
Yeah,
And one thing that helped him is I don't. Do you have any siblings?
I have one older brother. His name
Does
is
he know?
Darius. Oh yeah, he knows. Like literally all my cousins, my brother, they all know. They're like they've known for like the past 10, 12 years. They're like really chill with it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they like don't care.
My friend, because he was white, but he had an extremely conservative dad, so he got his sister to kind of be there with him and help him.
Mm,
And I think having that support when you're doing that, it can really help too. So that might be
yeah.
maybe you could loop your brother in and be like, hey, could you help be there with me when I do this? And just rip the band-aid off.
No, yeah, it's funny because like my brother sometimes will be there when my mom will bring up these questions like, "Oh, where's so and so?" And my brother will like give me this look like you gonna tell her? Look, and I'm like, and I'll like look back with this very sarcastic smile and be like, "I don't know, I don't know if." But
Oh,
my brother has really tried to help me. I think like a couple months after what's the show called? I was gonna say Moon Knight. Moon Knight is not the right name. Moonlight.
Moonlight.
Moonlight. After my mom watched Moonlight, my brother texted me and said, "Hey, mom just watched Moonlight. She really liked the film and she really understood the characters. So I think right now, if you want to, you can come out to her."
Your brother sounds so supportive. Good on you,
He is
Darius.
very supportive. Imagine if I got the names mixed up and I didn't say Moonlight and I said Moonlight this entire time. And my followers would have been like, "What? What movie are they watching?" My brother is super
that
supportive, and
that is just such good allyship. Just having that support in your corner is so important. I really want to push you to come out to her. Maybe write yourself a deadline, like a month, and that you have to do it by, because I think that's when you'll get it done. If you like, and actually, this is like advice I will give that goes just beyond coming out. It's also good for like career stuff. It's like if you have a goal you want to accomplish, write it down and write down when you want to accomplish it by. And I feel like that just helps by
that
leaps and
yeah.
bounds.
Also, to add on to that, make these goals like attainable. For example, if your New Year's resolution is I want to work out more, that's so broad. Have like a more specific objective.
Quantifiable.
Yeah, like I want to run 2 miles every week for the next month. Like that seems like attainable. And then maybe like, the next month make it
No, I'm giving you a look because you're deflecting. I'm giving
uh,
you a look because you're changing the subject. Maybe one of the examples is
no,
I will come out to
no,
my
he
mom in
sees
two
right
months.
through me. Oh, no. I don't want to talk about this. This makes me uncomfortable.
No, no, no. Yeah. Well, what I will say is that this, just also expanding upon this, I think one of my pieces of advice for people who are in STEM and are gay is that you have more support than you think.
True.
And it's grad. So I did grad school, right? I have my PhD. Grad school can be so isolating, and
Oh yeah.
I think what made it even more isolating is, I have these basically coworkers, right? The other people that work in my lab who lead very different lives from me. Some of them have long-standing relationships. They don't necessarily go downtown like I do. Like, right, it's just a different personality.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy. It was very easy for me to assume, like, oh, they're not going to be able to relate with me, or like, um, they might judge me if they know I'm gay, or if they know this is how I live my life, right? That I
Mm,
go to gay clubs, and like I felt like I had to present a version of myself to them.
that was deep. I feel you.
Yeah, and I think that really can be, it's really interesting because Microsoft is like really pushes like be authentic, bring your authentic self to work. And now that I think back on it, like I feel like some of the times I was Oh man, there was this one girl in my lab who like worked at the computer next to me. Um, and I only sometimes worked in that lab, but like at first we didn't talk that much. And like then she at one point we talked about my improv and I invited her. I was like, well, you can come to an improv show if you want. And I didn't really think that she would come or enjoy it or like it. And I think I had all these assumptions about like how she would react to my
Then
real
why'd you
me.
invite her?
Well, I was kind of being polite and I didn't expect her to come. And then she did, and she really
Oh.
enjoyed it. And that's when we really started to like, I like instantly had more of a bond with her. And then
Hmm.
like another, um, after being in my grad school lab for a while, I like decided to start telling some of the lab mates about this guy I was attracted to
Yeah.
because he was in the building and like once I was able to start having those conversations and like actually be me, I felt so much more connected to my lab mates because I was like, oh my god, this guy's so cute, and like they would laugh with me
Aw.
about it. They're like, oh, we saw you talking to him, you're so obvious, is like your crush on him is so obvious. I was like, no, I speak subtle. They're like, no girl, you were not, and like I feel like that really helps to be able to actually bond with, because it's hard to bond with someone if you're not presenting your real self to them. If you're presenting
Yep.
a fake version of yourself to them,
Yep. Yep.
in the book Velvet Rage, they call it splitting. Is when you like don't when you
Mm,
show like a fake version of yourself. Um, and so,
yeah.
as I said yesterday, I told my coworkers about my podcast for the first time, and that felt very scary. And it's like, what? I have nothing to be scared of. That's just the real me. Like, um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's good reasons that we have these defense mechanisms of like of being cagey about who we are. But I think when we find ourselves in the right environment, like we can start to thrive more if we're more ourselves. So
You're right. You're right. My undergrad lab, all the guys except for one PhD student, all the guys in my old lab were all gay.
what?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know, I know. I'm a liar. I'm a liar, and I
I'm,
didn't think that
no, no,
far.
I'm reacting because I'm jealous. I've never. So that's what I say. It's like we're talking about representation and like under or being underrepresented in the field, and it's like it is getting better and stuff. But like I am often the only gay person in the room.
Hmm.
Just like um on my teams, like especially as a data scientist, as a machine learning engineer, I really like, and that's a little bit more specific, but it's like such a profitable field right now, like machine learning,
Yeah.
and I know basically no gay machine learning engineers. If you're gay and you're a machine learning engineer, hit me up at Stier on fire.
Yeah, and he is single. He is single. Are you single? You are single,
I am
right?
single.
When you're explaining that, it reminded me of this one comedian, Mateo Lane, and he
Oh, I
said,
love
"I
Mateo.
freaking love Mateo." You know that one bit where he's like, "You know, at every Starbucks, there's always at least one gay person. If there's one gay person, shit gets done. But if there's because they're like, you do this, you do that, you do this, you go get that, you do. But when there's multiple gay people at Starbucks that's working, they're like, ugh, what does she want?" And so I'm like, that is so true. But my old lab was not like that. It was not like that. It was very supportive. And my lab manager, she called herself, I don't know if this is problematic to say. She called herself a fag hag. And it was because of my lab manager that she created like this environment that we can just like be ourselves. Where there are actually a couple of days where I wore a skirt to lab because she would always give me like her hand-me-downs and we were the same body size and she would always give me like hand-me-down clothes and I would just show up in lab, high heels and a skirt. And I'm sure I like violated a lot of OSHA codes or violations and regulations. But hey, girl, I was feeling myself. In the words of Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, I was feeling myself, feeling myself. And she got me into drag. We talked about this on your podcast too. She got me into drag. Did
Oh,
drag
cool.
for a summer. I was Miss Margaret Moon. For those that are listening, that's where I get my Margaret character from. It's my drag persona. That type of environment really allowed me to be myself. And this was my sophomore year.
That's fantastic.
When I interviewed for the lab, the lab manager interviewed me. There weren't like any questions on like, oh, what's your past research experience or what do you know how to do? It was very informal. We went to there's like this rundown apartment complex that was next to the lab building. I think UT, I guess, bought that apartment complex and each room is like assigned to a different lab. And so that apartment is now used as like a lab storage building. My lab manager, she like sat me down. She pulled out this clipboard. On the clipboard is this black and white photo of like these group of girls. And then she was like, she points out one girl. She asks, "Do you know this bitch?" And I was like, I literally don't know who these people are. I felt like Kiki Palmer. I never seen this man in my life. And and it was a picture of the Heathers movie, the cast, and it was the main actress. And I was like, I don't know who these people are. She's like, this is the cast of Heathers, and this, she's a bitch. And I was like, oh, like her character or the actress. She's like, well, in the movie, she is a bitch, and in real life, the actress is also a bitch. And I was like, oh, so I guess no acting was required. Okay, cool. And then literally after that statement, she's like, Darian, you're in. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
What a that's
Yeah.
an unhinged interview.
I was like, what? What just happened? And she said, okay, come on. If you're free tomorrow, let's stop by the lab and I'll give you a lab tour. I was like, okay. But anyway, that is how I got involved in that lab. And I'm so glad I joined it because everyone in there was like gay. The first Tuesdays of every month, we would go to drag bingo. Now, I don't know if you're involved with like,
Wow.
yeah. I don't know if you're involved with the drag scene in Austin, but the two drag queens that would host bingo, what's her name? Maven
Okay.
and Lady Grackle.
I'm more familiar with Maven because I'm friends with Valette Ward, and Maven does a lot of stuff with Valette.
Oh, okay. So the first time I ever performed in drag was at Drag Bingo. Lady Grackle was in prison. And so Maven was hosting.
Like literal prison?
Yeah, literally, she was in prison.
Oh my God.
They generally host Drag Bingo together, but Maven wasn't there. I'm sorry, Lady Grackle wasn't there. Hold on, I got to burp. Lady Grackle wasn't there, so Maven was just hosting bingo by herself. But I just happened to come in drag that day. So after we did our first game of bingo, Maven performed, and there's like a little intermission period. And during that intermission period, I'm sitting with my lab mates, I'm in full drag, and Maven comes up to our table. She goes up to me and she asks, "Hey, Lady Grackle wasn't here today, and I'm always trying to help out another sister. Since you're in full drag, do you want to perform?" And
Oh my
yeah,
God.
my whole lab were like, "Yes, you gotta perform, you gotta perform." And I was so nervous, and I said, "Guys, yeah,
I love that she like reached out. I was like, I always want to help out another sister. I love anytime like we have like support in the community like that. It really yes.
I think it was in that moment where I was like, this right here, this is Austin." And I was so nervous. I looked at my lab mates and I was like, "I don't know, guys. I don't want to do it." They're like, "Darren, you got to do it. You got to do it." And I told Maven, "Give me 5 minutes. Let me think about it. And I'll come back. If I do decide to perform, I'll give you the name of the song. Okay." And she's like, "Don't worry. I can just easily pull it up on Spotify." So then Maven walks away and my lab mates are encouraging me to perform. And I'm like, "Guys, I don't know any songs. The only song that I really know, like the back of my hand, is And I Am Telling You from Dreamgirls by Jennifer Holliday, specifically that version by Jennifer Holliday." And I like, "Then do it." So I went up to Maven and I told her, "Okay, I'm gonna perform And I Am Telling You by Jennifer Holliday." She said, "Okay." And after the intermission period, I got to perform. It was my first time performing in drag. And it was nerve-wracking, honestly. It was just so fun. It was a very large audience. There are about like 70 attendees.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
And they were so
Oh,
supportive. They were just like handing me $1 bills. And the very climax of the song, I actually have a video of it. I'm performing. Ba, 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 ba.
what you can do is you can intercut the audio from the video that you
Oh,
have
okay,
and just
okay.
like play that and then like
Yeah, you're
cut
right.
back.
Okay, so this part of the song. Swing my head forward like this. And then after that note, I swung it back and I'm like doing this dramatic shimmy thing and my wig falls off. And so you can see my what's called wig cap, and it just fits so perfectly. Everyone also knew that this was my first time performing in drag, so I think because of that, the support, the camaraderie was just like times two. My
I
wig
love that.
falls back, and after the whole performance, Maven thanked me, and I thanked her, and everyone clapped, and I walked back to my table with my lab mates. They were just so supportive, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Darren, you did a really good job. When your wig fell off, that was such good timing. Like, was that planned?" And I was like, "No, that was by accident because I don't know what bobby pins are. I didn't know what bobby pins are, and I didn't pin my wig back, and so it just like fell off." Maybe at some point I'll show the video on my personal Instagram. I've shown that video on my story a couple of times, but
Oh, nice.
it's so freaking embarrassing. It's like literally baby's first time in drag.
Oh, that's so cute though, and it
Yeah,
sounds like it was really fun, huh?
it was really fun, and it was after that my lab manager, I guess, posted that on her Instagram story or Snapchat story or something. She's friends with a lot of the local drag queens, and that night just happened to be like this amateur drag queen contest at Rain.
I love Rain. I love Rain.
I forgot the drag queen's name, but she messaged she commented on my lab manager's story or whatever and asked, is she free tonight? She should perform.
Ah,
And I was like, I got nothing to lose. She said tonight, but tonight was actually like in 2 hours. And so I was like, well, we can just finish eating here. We actually went to Walgreens and bought bobby pins. And then right after that, we went to Rain and we just hung out there until the show started. It was more of a competition. I was going up against like these like not well seasoned. Oh my God, they're not food. Well, these with these like actual good drag queens. And there were like about 4 or 5 of them. And I am telling you, is the only song that I know. I performed that song again that night, but at the same time, like it's a very overdone song in the drag scene.
Oh,
I was still feeling the adrenaline from the show earlier that day, and I think because everyone knew that it was my first time there, the support was high. Whereas
yeah,
this second show, it's more of like people that take, I guess, drag performances more seriously.
yeah.
They didn't know that this was my first time. And the person that went before me was really good. So my second performance, I'm getting ready to perform. The song plays. But then the first 5 seconds, I realized that the DJ is playing the wrong version of, and I am telling you, she's playing
No,
Jennifer Hudson's version, and I don't know that
no.
version. I embarrassingly went up to the DJ's little booth, in the corner, and it's like yeah, it's like up these stairs, and so you can see like just me walking up, and there's like this awkward like this audience is
This
like
is
staring
so.
at me. Yeah,
This
they're
is
like,
so Leah Michelle. It's so Leah Michelle being like, "This is wrong, and you need to fix
yes,
it."
I was pulling a Mariah. But I was
Yeah.
like, I think I was more like, oh my gosh, like you're playing the wrong song. Please, like, please play Jennifer Holiday. She was like, you said Jennifer Hudson. I'm like, no, I said Jennifer Holiday. She's like, okay. So there's like this conversation happening while the audience is looking at me. And I'm like, this
Oh
is
my
so
god.
this is so fucking embarrassing. Oh my gosh. And I think because of that song change, like I'm sure that the audience already had like a negative perception of me. And then I performed and I'm not doing all these tricks and
Yeah,
flips
of
and
course.
like
Yeah.
these other queens, and they were so good. And so out of all the performances, like mine was the worst. Like honestly,
Yeah.
mine was the worst.
But you were literally just starting out.
Yeah, I
Like
literally
this
was
is your second
starting
time
out.
ever performing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you had a lot working against you. No, that's tough. I mean, I do open mics all the time, and it's
Mm,
it's so demoralizing when you have a set go really well one place and then like just not go well at all in a different place. It's like it's so live performance like that can be so weird,
yeah,
especially like changing venues and stuff like that. And it's like when you're putting yourself out there, it's very
yeah.
difficult. Yeah.
Looking back at it, I think it's so funny. Hey, it's like a good story to tell. That's the way that I think of
Yeah,
a lot of like bad situations, bad scenarios. If things don't go the way you plan, it's okay because 10 years from now you can look back and laugh at it.
for
And
sure.
so I definitely learned a lot from that moment, and I think it's so funny. And it was also fun. It was very fun. I got more involved with the drag scene after that. And then when I came down to Houston, I just kind of took a break from it. I say a break. It's been for 5 years. All right. Ooh, that was loud. That was really loud. Alrighty. Andrew, thank you so much for being a guest on today's episode. Do you have any advice for my listeners?
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I have buckle up, y'all. I have a lot of advice. Well,
Go
because as
for
we
it.
talked about, like gay people are underrepresented in my field, so I really want to do what I can to like, yeah, give advice. And I feel like a lot of your followers are probably people who are in like more specifically the bio field because that's the field you're in. So some of y'all might be like me. You might be in the bio field and realizing that you really like tech and interested in that. So if you want to make that switch, I have all the
Mm.
advice for you. Or even if you're not in the bio field and you're just in tech, this also apply.
All the PIs are quaking right now because they're like, no, my student is going to stay in academia. How dare you pull them into industry?
These are the tips your PI doesn't want you to
Right?
know.
Right? This video will leave PIs quaking.
Basically, okay, so number one thing, if you are doing a shift and you were in bio and you're trying to get into tech, you have to downplay all your bio stuff so much on your resume, which sucks
Really?
because it's like you're gonna have all, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like you really want to send a signal that you are dedicated to that field and that this is a field you want to be in. Because when I was first starting to try to make that switch and like go for internships that were more like tech related, the companies would be like, is this what you want? Like, you know, because they're like, it sounds like you're more interested in bio stuff. And I'm like, no, I applied to this company for a
Oh,
reason.
yeah, I
So
see, I see. That makes a lot
yeah,
of sense. Yeah.
yeah. So I really learned to like downplay that stuff and really try and bring out the stuff that was most relevant to the position, which is probably just good advice in general, right? You
Yeah.
really want your resume to read like, hey, this is the job that I want. And so you have to like curate your resume for that. But that was such a thing for me. And then if you can like take a CS class, I feel like you can learn so much just from your peers. I had
Yeah.
a peer named Josh who was like instrumental in helping me like pick up on all this stuff. Put GitHub on your GitHub link on your resume. That's
Mm-hmm.
like a huge signal that like you're actually serious about coding. Um, and
Mm.
then cracking the coding interview, do that's like the Bible for tech interviews because tech interviews are so formulaic, but they're so um, it's like taking a test and you have to
Yeah.
study for it. So
Oh.
cracking the coding interview, I use hackerrank.com when I go through their practice exercises. And then also be aware of what the when you're actually going for full-time jobs, there's a website I wish I'd known about called levels.fyi that just like tells you for all the roles across all the major tech companies what that pay is and what that pay should be so you can know where you should fall.
Wow.
But one thing I wish I had done is I wish I had known for other PhD students what level most people get hired at, or like where people get hired at
Yeah.
for my specific field. So really do your research and see if you can find someone, because it's easy to make assumptions about like what you deserve or what you should get paid. But
Mm.
if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can find other people who are have your experience, who are in your field, and find out like what the going rate is,
Yeah. That's
I think
good.
that's
Yeah.
really helpful.
Within your fields, is there like, I guess with like some higher ups, do they try to encourage their employees to not talk about like salary and wages?
I think because levels.fyi exists, it's
Hmm.
really interesting because those it's like all open knowledge pretty much. I
Mm.
think within your level. So if like someone knows your level, they can probably just like look up more or less what your salary is, and there's some
Mm.
wiggle room within that. It's I think it's always going to be an awkward topic of conversation of
Mm-hmm.
like how much do you make, right?
My old lab, my current lab, we talk about it like willy-nilly. Like, how much are you getting paid? 31? What? I'm getting paid 33. How are you? We need to talk about this. Like, I think it's always important to openly talk about it because sometimes our bosses don't want us to talk about it so that they can really try to pay less, like make the most of their money, and not
Yeah,
pay their employees adequately. But that's certain labs, I guess.
I like that we're moving towards more transparency in wages. I think that is very important,
Hmm.
especially for the employees. Like,
Yeah, slay.
oh yeah, and then I did ask for I did negotiate my salary a bit, and so definitely ask for uh ask for you can't really do it at the internship level, but
Hmm.
when you're going for full time, I didn't ask for a ridiculous amount more, right? But you can ask for like a 2% increase or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I what I learned, just like in general, especially having agents, is always, always, always ask for more. Like it doesn't hurt because at the end of the day, they will, if you're really good and they really want you, they will always try to negotiate the rate or the salary. So just do it. In the words of Nike,
Yeah.
just do it.
Word, word. Yeah, and then I think another big piece of advice is apply for everything. It's a
Oh
number,
yes.
getting a full-time job or getting any job is a numbers game. When I my first like big get was when I got Twitter as an internship. Now I had
Hmm.
done an internship the summer before, and even that felt like a big get. My first internship was at a startup in Austin and called Stier I, and it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of how I started, So I started out there, and then but
Hmm.
then the next summer I got Twitter, and like it still didn't
Yeah.
feel real. Like I was like, what? This big company wants to hire
Yeah.
me? Yeah, don't doubt yourself, and it's a numbers game, and just honestly apply for everything. Also, I think like it'll be silly sometimes. A company that like isn't as well regarded won't hire you, but a company that's high like has higher regard will hire you, because it kind of just depends on like what company has the positions open, and that's going to change from season to season, from year to year.
Hmm.
And so the best way to find that is just truly just apply, apply, apply. I
Yeah.
When I got Microsoft, I applied to so many companies. Sometimes I would set myself a rule of like I'm gonna do an application a day.
I mentioned this before on previous episodes, but right after college, I knew I wanted to work in a lab as a research tech, so I applied to about 50 positions and got interviewed for six and only received one offer. So and it never hurts to apply, and if you have to go through a lot of interviews, I feel like the more interviews you go through, you just kind of get into the habit of understanding what the process feels like, and
Yes, yes, yes.
you feel more comfortable and you don't get as nervous.
Yeah.
The one lab that accepted me, I think I had already came in with like this, like, I don't care anymore. Let's just get this interview over with. And that was actually the one where I actually got the position.
I love that feeling when you're in an interview and you're like, this is going well. Like you
Yeah.
click. It's like you have that chemistry, and like I feel like you can really feel it. Yeah, that's what I both for Twitter and for Microsoft, that final interview where I was like, oh, I think this is going well. Like, it's like
Yeah.
you feel that chemistry. It's such a great feeling.
Either well, I sometimes it can go either way where you can be like, wow, that was like the best interview ever. But then on their end, they're like, that was the worst applicant ever. Like
I don't know.
I
I've never had that. I've never had an interview where it felt like I crushed it, and then I was
yeah.
like extremely surprised. I mean, I had interviews where it's like I think that went well, and then they rejected me. I was like, oh, but
Yeah,
like when I've
same,
really
same.
really felt it, it's never. It's like yeah, it goes the way I
Mm,
think it's gonna go, and I think that's because they kind of you can tell they're digging it.
yeah. Recently, I had an audition for Brother, the printing company, the computer printer company. I thought I crushed the audition. Like I was like, ooh, I feel good. Like I think I did it. Like I hopefully I get a callback or even get the role or whatever. And they're actually filming the actual commercial. This was months ago, but I know they're going to film the actual commercial next no next Thursday. And so I didn't hear back for a while, and then I emailed my agents and I was like, hey, can you follow up with Brother to see? I'm kind of curious to see if I got it. And they're like, oh, they're still like in the process of auditioning other people. And they're like, how did it go with you? And I'm like, it went wonderful. Like I really hope I get it. I don't know, I feel very confident. And then a couple of days later, they emailed back. They're like, yeah, they're wanting to head in a different direction.
Yeah, and honestly, that may have had nothing to do with your performance or audition, and everything to do with what they like. They truly were like, "Oh, we're not going in that direction anymore. We needed you for this, but
Oh,
we're not doing
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
anymore." So
Also, like I feel like in
good.
this, I guess, content creator slash acting theater community, I don't know. The same thing. You just have to audition, you have to do a lot of things, and you have to get used to rejection and failure, and don't take it personally.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I got so many rejections, and that's the thing. It just, especially for like landing a job, it
Yeah.
just takes one yes. I
Yep.
mean, actually, having two yeses, or at least having like two. When I negotiated with Microsoft, I was also still being considered by Twitter, and so even though
Mm.
I didn't have an acceptance from Twitter yet, I was like that certainly helps. Like having two offers is definitely better, but still, like basically what I'm trying to say is all the failures and rejections you get does not diminish the power of the acceptance that you get, and so it's like that's something to go into thinking. Yeah.
Wow, you're like Thanos, but with like job offers. You got Twitter, you got Microsoft.
Ah,
Watch
stop.
out TikTok, watch out Facebook, Snapchat.
It is pretty common for people in tech to switch jobs very early on. That's just pretty commonplace. That doesn't always happen at Microsoft. Like there are people who stay there longer. Yeah, a lot of times people will work 3 to 5 years and then switch jobs
Gotcha,
after
gotcha.
because that's just the most reliable way to get a big pay
Gotcha. That's really good advice. Thank you so much for all of
bump.
this.
If you want career advice and you have a question, feel free to hit me up on you can hit me up on socials, but like the most appropriate channel for this kind of inquiry is going to be LinkedIn. So that's linkedin.com/ACSTIER that you should be able to find me. And if that doesn't work, you can email me at Andrew C. Stier at gmail.com. And then if you want to follow me for entertainment purposes or just follow my journey and connect, I would love if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. And my handles on all three are at Stier on Fire. And then if you want to follow the podcast,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the rainbow. I'm waiting for Rainbow Room plug-in because we spent a long time talking about it.
The podcast is called Rainbow Room, and hopefully it's one of the first things that comes up if you search it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at Rainbow Room Podcast. And then there's a link tree that will like link you to everything from there. We also have a TikTok at Rainbow Room Podcast, and then and then on Twitter we're at Rainbow_Room_. I think those are my biggest things to promote, just because that's really my passion project right now. Also on my Instagram, I have an equivalent to a LinkedIn that will kind of like have links to all my stuff.
Slay.
But yeah, I have a YouTube channel, just kind of like all my little projects. But those are my main ones for sure. And then if you're in Seattle, come see a show at Unexpected Productions because I perform there. Yeah, hit me up. We'll talk about the details. I would love to have you over. Like, you can stay with me or you can pregame with me. I live near the gay clubs here, so.
Okay, I sound kind of old, but I'm not into drinking anymore.
That's okay. We have drugs. No, I'm joking.
But I'm kind of a grandma. I don't
actually do drugs, for the record.
Wait, so you do like Molly? You do that's insane. You do drugs?
Shut
That's so
up,
great.
no.
But thank you so much for being a guest on this. I had such a great time talking to you.
I had so much fun being here. Thank you so much. I love what you're doing here. I love your mission of like helping people make sure that they're being treated well in lab and being aware of these issues. And I hope some of the stuff I brought up can be helpful to you as well.
Of course. Alrighty, thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a great day. I hate ending these because I don't know how to end them. So, bye, y'all.